if that little flame inside you, that little spirit within is saying don't stop, then you can't stop. You just don't stop. Just don't stop. The only reason to have a plan B is if you want to, expand. I mean, I think that sometimes people are like, oh, well, if this doesn't work, then you have a plan B. To me, it's like, no, this is going to work. That's it. And once it works and you have that, then you can have another plan. You call it 8.2. Life is tough enough. Don't be kind to yourself. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Joseph Sikora, and you are listening to Dreams and Drive.
Ladies, gentlemen, welcome to the colorful world of Skittles. Skittles brings you a jolt of 5 fruity flavors in every bite, giving you the chance to taste the rainbow like never before. Break free from the ordinary day-to-day with the help of Skittles Chewy Candy. Skittles is a must in my candy jar. Movie snack, even my secret, so an afternoon pick-me-up. And I don't even care who knows it. Add a splash of joy to your day with Skittles. There's nothing better than fruity fun that tickles your taste buds. Taste the rainbow.
Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Joseph Sikora. Joseph is an American actor who you guys may know from his starring role as Tommy Egan on Power and subsequently in the spin-offs Power Book 2 Ghosts. And he now recently is the star of his own show, Power Book 4, which is Force, right? And you guys might also recognize him as playing Frank Cosgrove Jr. in Ozark, which is a show that I also love as well. I had the pleasure of interviewing Joseph 2 times before in the past, but this is our first one-on-one sit down. So I was really excited to have him on the show to talk about his inspirations, his encouragement, or what he would tell to other young dream drivers who are trying to make it in media and or creative fields. And also we talk about his role as Tommy in Power, because I do feel like art imitates life, and there is a lot that we can learn from fiction characters and how those lessons play out in our own lives. So this was really a great conversation, and I was really impressed by just how thoughtful Joseph was. So I really hope that you guys take away some of the nuggets that I took away from all that he had to share. If this is your first time listening to Dreams and Drive, please make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening so that you get notifications every time we have future episodes. And make sure you're following us on social media, especially on Instagram. We are Dreams and Drive across the board, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when searching and sharing as well. All right, let's hear from Joseph. You know, so funny, we have this whole car analogy, right? And you are known, Joseph, for your role as Tommy in Power Force, right? And I think that car is something that everybody knows you for, that blue. What kind of car is that, actually? I'm not a car person, but I know the car when I see it.
That is a 1969 Ford Mustang with the original 351 engine inside, revving up hot.
All right, so let's get that whole car analogy going, to kick this interview off, right? What would you say, if you were a young Joseph sitting in that car, right? Where did you think your future was going to be taking you? You're sitting in the front seat of that Ford Mustang as a kid. What was inspiring you? What was really getting you motivated about the world?
Drive was just the world itself, life, different things. I think a lot of my fascination with the world came from my grandmother, who loved driving me around Chicago and taking me out to little breakfast places like the local McDonald's or the Busy Bee restaurant, or going to the hair salon the beauty shop where my grandma would get her hairs done and talk with her little gaggle of old Polish ladies, and just driving around and seeing stuff and figuring out identity and, hearing that other language being spoken and all these other worlds. And I thought about my dad reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy to me and my older brother, really specifically, I guess, when we were little kids, and fantasizing about other worlds. I think that I give a lot of credit to my fascination with the otherworldly stuff, the Catholic Church. And I think the presentation of going to Mass every Sunday and celebrating all the holy days of obligation and the holidays and different seasons, and seeing the pageantry of the church, and also all the love that was presented to me and the wonderful stories of the Bible. I always felt that they were great tools for human understanding. And then that coupled with, like I said, the pageantry of the church and the Catholic Mass always just kind of brought me to different places. And I I wanted to see how everybody could be, how everybody was the same. I think that the ultimate message of the Bible is, and I think that when we do good entertainment, we call it the transcendent. And I guess Christians would call it God, and Muslims would call it Allah, and Jews would call it Yahweh. And I think that that's what we call that in general, in every tradition, and every human, we call it the transcendent. And if an actor can reach that transcendence, then every human on the planet can understand what that character that you're trying to portray feels.
I love that you say that because, I think sometimes as creatives, so I'm a creative too. I have this podcast. I dabble in photography and other things. I think sometimes we don't realize just the importance of our gift, right? And you as an actor, you're playing these roles, but I'm telling you, these roles still have such an impact on the people who are viewing it, right? Like, how do you see Tommy's role in Force, right? I know beyond like him being, let's say, his character, right? But when you really dig deep into who he is and what he stands for, what do you hope that people really get out of the essence of who Tommy is and why that's so important within like their own lives if they're taking those, tidbits and putting things into their own life?
That there is loss, that there are heartaches and trials and trouble. But that I think that Tommy, even though his is a very animalistic heart that drives him, I think that we all have that desire to succeed and that desire to be steadfast and unyielding towards our goals, regardless of those goals are. Now you can say Tommy wants to be the biggest drug dealer in the world, or, he wants to be on that Pablo Escobar level. And I don't think that I necessarily am propagating for anybody to follow that. But I think that an even bigger picture to take away from the Power show, or certainly the Power Tommy show, is that you have to fight. You have to fight, and that there is that if you have that drive, if you stay loyal, especially to your goals, you don't take others' opinions, but you follow your own path, the beat of your own drum. There is success out there, and I think that can manifest itself in an entertaining way like it does in our show, but I think that the bigger picture are these lessons of drive and continuation and self-success.
Yeah, and one thing as you were speaking that I wondered, was there anything that Tommy taught Joseph about what he needs to be doing in his own life when it comes to what's next and, continuing on in your own personal desires and dreams?
Absolutely. Tommy cares so much less about what people think than what I care. I care a lot about what other people think. I mean, less and less as time goes on. And part of that is because I do love people and I love people's experience, and I want to give people all the credit that every individual deserves. But Tommy, it just really realizes and knows, oh my God, I just am seeing a Cooper's hawk out my window right now. Oh my God, what a beautiful bird. I'm sorry. Tommy realizes that you can't please everybody. And Tommy doesn't have any desire really to please anybody, which I think a lot of the comedy comes out of that for Tommy. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Yeah. You don't mean nothing to me.
And it's so funny because as creatives, like, it's like we're constantly, we want feedback, but at the same time, we want to be independent and we want to be confident in what we are putting out into the world. So I love that you mentioned that, because even as like a huge fan, so I've watched every episode, right, since like the Power days. I honestly do feel that too when watching Tommy. I feel like one thing that I get from the show is like Tommy is like not a perfectionist, but he's a master of his craft, right? Like he's makes sure that when he's doing something, he does it well and he does it complete. How was your own approach to your art, Joseph? Like how do you make sure that you are constantly showing up at your best and putting 100% in? Because a lot of us sometimes struggle with that as creatives.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky to never have a problem. Despite myself, I give 100%. There are times where I know things are out of my hands, or I'm not being respected by people the way I know I deserve to be. And it doesn't matter. When I show up on set, I can't help myself. I give 100% every time. I never give 99. I give 100%. I live and I create. And part of that is because I do have a kind nature and I want everybody to succeed and win. But the problem is, I think that a lot of people don't realize that everybody can win. They think there has to be winners and losers. There doesn't. Everybody can win. everything is a flow. Everything goes out. Everything comes back in. So it's like 50 Cent taught me that if you raise up everybody else around you, you go up as well. It's not like you're just raising them up. They don't sit on your head. They raise them up, and you actually go up even higher. So that was learning by example from 50 for sure. But Tommy, even though Tommy's loyal to people who are loyal to him, and Tommy makes it tough to be loyal to him sometimes because he doesn't communicate everything. He expects a lot. I mean, Tommy's a leader because he's feared a lot of times. And 50 actually taught me that there's a lot of people around me that always lied and said, you could either be feared or you could be loved, but that's not true. What's true is that you could be loved so much that people are afraid to let you down. And that's kind of maybe the best part about being a leader. Maybe that's the most advanced. That's the ultimate. The penultimate is just having people follow you. But Tommy's also a micromanager. Don't get it twisted, right? Like Tommy will get out there in the street. He used to get so frustrated with Julio, which I love because I love J.R. Ramirez anyway. He's a close friend of mine. But Tommy used to get so frustrated at Julio that he'd be like, forget it, I'm going to go in the streets. They're like, no, boss, you're not supposed to be on the corner. You're not supposed to be touching the money. You're not supposed to be. He's like, I know, but you guys don't know how to do it. Let me show you how to do everything. So that's one of Tommy's shortcomings, is that he is a micromanager. And that's, again, the opposite of 50 Cent. 50 Cent he's a macromanager, meaning that he empowers people to do the best job that they can around him. And he has a quote that says, I didn't go to Harvard, but a lot of people that work for me did.
Dream Drivers, as you guys know, I have a new baby on the block and I'm back in diaper mode full time. Life as a mom of two can be super chaotic, so I need a diaper brand that's reliable and works just how I need it. That's why I'm a Pampers Swaddlers mama. Fear no leaks, one of my biggest pet peeves with the new and improved Pampers Swaddlers. They now feature a blowout barrier at the back waist to help prevent up to 100% of leaks and even blowouts. Plus, the dual leak guard barriers at the legs help protect where those leaks happen the most. And newborn days are poopy central, and if you don't have to deal with a mess during changing time as a mama, that's gold. I remember being traumatized those first few weeks with baby Axel. So with this new blowout barrier, it's so clutch because it means it's just one less thing I have to worry about. Less mess, less hassle, less stress, which means more smiles, more time enjoying that baby, and more dream driving. P.S. I love that Pampers Swaddlers is hypoallergenic, meaning I never had to worry about diaper rash. With Axel, and his skin was always so healthy, so I'm looking forward to that this time around too with the new baby. Go download the Pampers Club app today and earn Pampers Cash so you can try and fall in love with Pampers Swaddlers too. Tylenol Rapid Release Gels, your go-to option for fast, effective pain relief. Don't let pain slow you down. Be prepared for aches and pains after the big game or fun fall festivities. Tylenol Rapid Release Gels to help you enjoy life to the fullest. And now, introducing new Tylenol Precise, a pain-relieving cream with maximum strength lidocaine without a prescription. Get back to the activities you love with Tylenol Rapid Release Gels and Tylenol Precise. Find the power of pain relief today. Available now. Use as directed. I like that. So every time I hear that quote, so I went to Princeton, right? And I'm like, dang, that is true, right? And it's like, you don't always necessarily have to be the one, but your team around you what's the quote? You don't want to be the smartest person on your team, right? Like if you're the smartest person in the room, they need to get into a new room, right?
You should, right?
On that thread though, what have been some learnings that you've just learned about your own self professionally and personally that you think are just great nuggets for everybody? I know you talked about the idea of putting everybody on. It's better to be loved than to be feared in that way, right? But is there any other personal, professional or personal nuggets that you've really learned this past season that have really impacted you?
This past season, yeah. You can't force people. You can't force yourself to be a leader. You can't force people to follow you. People will either follow you or not. You have to lead that path by doing you. Then people will either follow you or they won't. You can't. That's definitely what I observed. We're seeing people who are like, "Oh, maybe I'm in charge," or this is the way to lead, and it's not. And you can. It's almost difficult to. It's really difficult to scare people into following you. You know what I mean? It's like
because
you got to
everybody's
lead.
Motivated by something.
Be a leader.
everybody's motivated by something different. And I think I saw that this, especially in the last episode, right? You really saw what was motivating everyone. Like, Claudia, wanting to get that affirmation from her family, but at the end of the day, she really wanted to be motivated to be her own person at the end, right? And it's just interesting. I keep thinking to myself, why did they name this series Force, right? Like the other one with Tariq is Ghost, right? And then this is Force,
which is a person. And the other one is Raising Canaan, which is a person.
Yeah, so Force is like a noun, or it could be a verb. It could be depending upon how you're looking at it, right?
Yeah, maybe that's where they came from. I mean, I really don't know why they called it Force. I have no idea. It didn't. I still kind of don't know, which is probably why Black Twitter always just calls it the Tommy Show.
That is so
which also
true.
makes me laugh too.
But but what I think too is there's something that you said earlier about loss, right? And I felt that when Liliana passed, like it hurt me, right? And I know it's a fictional show. She's not a real person, but I think she represents a lot for a lot of people. For you, in retrospect, and thinking about your own journey, thinking about Tommy's journey as a character, right? Why do you think that loss is going to be very instrumental to how Tommy?
Oh, it's so huge. It's so huge, even more than Ghosts. It was funny when I'll just tell you the inside scoop of where my mind was during these two different deaths. And I would say it's the two different partners that Tommy has ever had. We saw it as a pretty quick development though with Liliana, but it sure made sense to me. And I really loved it. And Audrey Esparza, who plays Liliana, is a fantastic person and actor as well. But Tommy saw the loss of his two partners. Now, when he lost his brother, what was going through my head when it was Ghost's death, played by Omari Hardwick brilliantly for all those seasons, it was just really just nothing but black loss and disbelief. It was disbelief because Tommy could feel that part of himself was dying in Ghost. Yeah. Because if Ghost didn't die, the martyrdom that death represented, actually, of course, most people see that it really means new life, just like most martyrdoms do. He died so we could live. Yeah. But the Liliana death, one of the aspects that could have been in Ghost death, but it wasn't, at least I didn't play it, but I did play in the Liliana death, was that it was that, that disbelief, the disbelief and loss and the desperateness of it. But also there was just that little itty bitty, she signed up for this. And I have to accept that as part of the game. I don't like it, but there is a fairness to it. I'm going to go back. Tommy's going to go back. This is a fire in Tommy's belly now, because you're not going to get away with that. But at the same time, I did want to play that. This is what we all signed up for. There, but by the grace of God, go I.
Dream drivers, Walgreens knows you need your medications, but sometimes what you really need is a prescription for more time with your family or friends, or just more time to do what you want on a Saturday afternoon. That's why Walgreens offers same-day RX delivery to where you are. So you can get more than just your meds. You can get your prescription to save time at the pharmacy. And when you have pharmacy questions, which let's face it, we all do, Walgreens will be there for you with a helpful 24/7 pharmacy chat. So when you need to know, which med do I take before bed again? Or, is it safe to have a glass of wine with my prescription? You can ask a Walgreens pharmacy expert that question no matter where you are or what time of day it is. And that gives you more than just answers. It gives you your prescription for peace of mind. Delivery is available on eligible prescriptions only. See details at walgreens.com/prescription delivery.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting too that, you were one of, I want to say, and this may not be true, but you kind of helped Claudia with her first kill, right? And it's like you kind of helped her become a killer in a way, right? Like when you guys were, burying the bodies, and now she's the one that took out this person who means so much to you. But as you said, it's part of the game, right?
Yes.
there's so many like deep things in this show, which is why I continue to say like art truly is so important, right? And you as an actor playing these roles, like we're learning, people on the outside, viewers, consumers, are really being able to reflect so much. And I like the idea of loss because it kind of connects to this idea of us as dream drivers is, can you have it all, right? Because in this pursuit of the dream, Joseph, we're all trying to get something, whether it's riches, whether it's family, whether it's something. There's always this idea of, can I have it all? What are your thoughts on that?
You can't take it with you. I think that the biggest lesson we keep learning on life is that you need to enjoy the day. And I think that Tommy's enjoyment of the day is in the pursuit of what he wants. But Tommy really does. Another lesson I've learned from Tommy is to every day is not a guarantee. And it really has helped me playing the Tommy character. It's helped me live in the present and for the day, because tomorrow may not ever happen, or tomorrow may be the day that it's all over with. So he wakes up every day. One of the reasons Tommy lives is because he wakes up every day ready to die.
Wow.
And
That's deep.
I think it's pretty powerful.
That really is deep. For people who are aspiring actors, people who are just getting into the industry, from what you've seen and your experiences being on Power, was it 2000? When did Power launch? Was it 2000?
It launched in 2014. We started filming in 2013. 2013. Yep.
Wow, it's like 9 years, right? So thinking about
9 years
that,
ago,
like,
yep.
What do you really think? I know you talked about making sure that you're putting people around you and that who are in your circle who are going to push you. But are there other things that you would give to aspiring dream drivers within the industry of, hey, keep doing this and I'm telling you, you're going to be successful?
Doing what you love, talking about what you know, never settling, following your dream, burn the bridge behind you. It really is that, it is that extreme. The only reason to have a plan B is if you want to, expand. I mean, I think that sometimes people are like, oh, well, if this doesn't work, then you have a plan B. To me, it's like, no, this is going to work. That's it. And once it works and you have that, then you can have another plan. You call it 8.2. But,
Ooh.
You can have a plan B. You have a plan B, but you have a plan B after you're successful.
So let me ask you this then, Joseph. What's your plan A? Since you have no plan B, right? What's your plan A right now?
My plan A is already done. I'm already living the dream. I've had enough, enough success that I can pay my bills, and I was able to buy my apartment. And now that's dangerous because now I could say no to whatever I want. I can go back to doing off Broadway theater for the rest of my life, and I'm straight. See, bigger than just being an actor, I'm a storyteller, which is why I started my production company with my brother Albin, Black Fox Productions. And I love telling stories. So I think that, if you're part of that ancient tribe of storytellers, which I consider myself to be, you want to tell these stories. You want to reach people. You want to help people understand their own lives and make the world a better place through art. And I think that that's what you do as well. And, we're all in this thing together. But, I want my plan A is to keep on keeping on and keep turning people on and tell the best stories possible, not just my stories, but the best stories, all of our stories, collaborate with people. I love to collaborate and I love making pieces of art.
I love that you mentioned that because, I think as a storyteller, so I love that you give me my props as a storyteller too, right? We can sometimes be our biggest critics, and we sometimes, when we're not getting, let's say, the reach, when we're not getting the press or the hits on the stories that we're sharing, we want to just give up. But what would you tell that person who's in the midst of really like creating these stories, but just yet isn't seeing the traction they want? Like what advice or what inspiration would you give that person to keep going?
If that little voice inside you is telling you, if that little flame inside you, that little spirit within is saying, don't stop, then you can't stop. You just don't stop. Just don't stop. I mean, I wanted to stop. I lived between Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York for, almost 7 years. And LA was the hardest existence of my life. It made me question my life in general. I just had that little baby flame. So if I could give advice to my younger self, it would be, don't worry so much, relax, enjoy the day. don't think about the future so much. Enjoy other things that you love more than acting. And that didn't happen for me until I found my wife. And then that's when I had a lot more success, was when I found something that I loved more than acting. And acting became more fun again. I don't know, that's my own personal journey, but life is tough enough. Don't be kind to yourself.
That could be a whole nother podcast episode. You got to come back on for another episode. So we can dive into that, because I think that's something that people don't realize is the support around you will really be the fuel that can help you get to that dream even quicker. And you're not realizing, when I call it dream killers, sometimes there's people in your life who can really, you think that they love you, right? Like your own parents sometimes, kind of like a Kate in Force, right? Like she loves you, but you have to know sometimes when to get away. But when you need her, she's there. Does that make sense? Like, I love how at the end, it's like Liliana was his connection to the past, or connection to New York, and Kate came back. It's kind of like, I don't know, I might be reaching here, right? But I'm like, I think she's going to be here next season. I think she's going to stay around for a little bit. All right. So last question then, Joseph. To be a dream driver, you need your keys to success. So can you just tell our dream drivers 3 things that you think every dream driver needs in their toolkit before they hit the road?
Take care of yourself physically. Your young body is not going to last forever. And it's important to have good habits. I'm not saying don't drink, don't smoke or anything like that. Just make sure that, you're doing what's best for yourself physically. I think that goes underestimated. If you're an actor, you can buy a great self-help tool called The Golden Rules of Acting by Andy Nyman. It's all the things that they never will teach you, and even if you go to big university or any acting program like that. So it's good to have a nice little hardcover, softcover resource. And I guess the third thing is always be a consummate student. Always know that nobody knows everything, that there's always more to learn. And if you stay with that beginner's mind, is what they call it in the East. If you keep a beginner's mind, you'll always find new things about things that are old. I feel like that's why I always have to keep a beginner's mind with Tommy Egan. And that's why I feel like I constantly discover more things.
Well, thank you so much, Joseph, for chatting. And, hopefully this isn't our last time chatting. It's actually my 3rd time chatting to you. When they had in-person press days, I did a few quick roundtables with you. So it was really good to be able to connect again.
Fantastic. Congratulations on your success and your podcast.
All right, so that's the wrap for this episode of Dreams and Drive. I hope you enjoyed our guest's dream driving journey, as well as listening to their keys to success. If you love this episode, you know what to do. Please make sure that you are following us. We are at Dreams and Drive across social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So make sure you're sharing this episode, posting it to your Instagram stories, texting it to a friend, sharing on LinkedIn, wherever you are or online. Just pay this forward and share this with somebody. We really appreciate it. And all the sharing that you do helps us grow our community. If you want to join our email newsletter, The Keys, and get weekly updates delivered to your inbox, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. And lastly, if you know somebody who would be great for this show, or if you are someone who would be great for this show, please go to dreamsanddrive.com/pitch. I'm always accepting new guests. I'm always accepting new pitches. So I love to see those pitch requests coming in. Keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in the next episode. Bye, guys.